So right initially, the social networks that we support that can be streamed right into your loop, to get the specifics, it's Facebook, MySpace, Windows Live, and Twitter. So it's those 4 out of the gate, and those are the ones that we support right now. But we run, all of this is running on a service, and we'll, over time, depending on what customers want, we go and add things. We do those updates can happen over the air. The other bit, so you'll see on this particular device, you see kind of a stream of things from different people. And these here on Facebook and other places are pulling in both pictures and text. And again, I can come in with one tap, and I can go and click, and I can see both what the person said in detail. If there are comments, I would see those comments from the people, and then I can post my comments as well. So that's those are there. If I come down, I think down at the bottom here, there's actually what is some content feeds. So technically, this is RSS. So instead of on a lot of phones where you may have an RSS application, or what I just showed you with Facebook, or all these others might be separate applications. Here with Kin, the intent is to make it very easy and put what's most important to you live right in front of you very easily versus pecking down into a variety of apps. So I think what Derek has said, that social, where your content really is what the phone is all about. The phone, looking at it, really, it's kind of a mirror back to you about what's really your life, what's important to you. So your phone's going to look very different than mine because your people are different than mine. The websites that you may want to stay, have there with you all the time are different. Or random example, last week I was on the road, I was looking for a specific motorcycle part. I'm into street bikes. And so I went to Craigslist, I went to the search I was on, I went and I clicked and I said, add that to my loop. And now I'm getting updates, because it's RSS, right to my loop. That was important to me at that particular time. Or it might be your website or whatever it is that you're working on. All that can come right to you so that the information that you care about, the people that you care about are right there front and center, happening to you in real time. Now, all of us have a random friend on Facebook, and I'll apologize in advance if any of you are these types, because it's just fine, that are constantly inviting you to play Mafia Wars, to play Farmville, and others. And I have a set of games that I play on Facebook, not as much as I used to, that probably annoy some people, but everybody has like that. And what you're able to do is I flip to the right to this favorites list, because what happens here versus other phones, where you may be able to have a list of favorites, which is kind of pulling someone from an address book, and then those people are there easily for you to go to make a phone call. So if I were to flip on one of these people, I could quickly go in and make a phone call to one of them. I can see their contact card, whatever information I have for them, in case I have their email address there. So that's pretty common. What Kin does differently is whoever I put into my favorites list, those are the people that get prioritized in my loop. So if I've got a group of 5 friends, or if I have a group of 50 friends that are important, those are the ones I absolutely want to know what's going on. Those are the people that get priority. Again, if there's updates from those people, they'll show up in my loop versus someone who isn't. If there's no updates from them, then it simply will pull what the latest updates are. But it's a way of prioritizing things. And we take that favorites concept and we do it in a variety of places on the phone. One example I'll give you is if you go in and want to send a new text message, you can click, and I'll show you here. If I click and go over and send a new text message, for example, what it will do when I come and click new is it pulls in those favorites right for me. So those people I see right there, those are some of my favorites. And I can scroll through quickly my favorites, or I can go and do a real kind of smart search. It's the kind of technology we've had on Windows Phone for many years from the beginning, where I can search down from my entire address book, but quickly get to your favorites. You'll see that elsewhere. Did I answer your question a little bit about social integration? Mm-hmm. So those are just those are some sort of key examples. I think the next one was about music, right? Yeah. Let's show it and on both these it's the same. I'll just flip over to another phone. And here this kind of unlock is kind of this swipe back is meant to be sort of the action that you might see on pulling back the vellum off a magazine. Wow, that's going to be loud. I'm going to turn this down a little bit so it doesn't kill everybody. But I'll plug in so you can actually hear what's going on here. And come up and keep me honest if you feel this is not accurate. I'll walk around the room and do it on multiple devices. But here, when I come in, I'll bounce out so you see the whole thing for those of you recording. I come in and I click on my music, and it opens up a Zune player. And this is the first phone to have the Zune software, complete Zune integration on the phone. It's been announced this will be part of other phones that come from Microsoft, but this is the first. So just as you've seen on a Zune HD, you quickly on here on the left can see what music maybe you were playing if you have some pause, and I do. I can go down and see my history, what I've been playing, and then I can see latest things that I have loaded onto my phone, whether those be videos or music. And here you'll see great video player. I think this is video here because I recognize this. This is one of the videos actually from kin.com that my team's created, and let's hope that the sound's working. It might not be on this one here. There we go. So it's playing. So nice video player, as Derek was saying. Come over into music, and of course I can go in and I can see all of my albums, and I've got the ability to go in and do my different sort of ways I want to filter, or I can hit that back button and I can come in and look at videos. If I had podcasts, those would be here, as well as click over the Zune Pass, and here I can flip right in. This is going right into the entire Zune catalog. And I can go in and see new releases, top songs, top albums. I can randomly I'll go pick something. I have no idea what's going to come up, so my apologies if it's strange. This one says edited, so that might be okay. And hit play, and I can go in and go and start playing that song. It might take a second depending on the speed of the network where you are, but it'll pull that down. So you can stream the entire Zune catalog. If I click add it to cart, it adds to the cart, and then what happens is when I plug that into my PC, then it will go and buy that track. So this streaming over the air of your full Zune catalog is for Zune Pass subscribers only at this time. Did that answer your question, Matt?
Yeah. So the only thing that I don't see on the Zune is the apps.
So the apps aren't here, at least not this time.
Okay.
Are there any plans to integrate that, or is it going to be a different apps?
We have lots of plans. That's all I'm allowed to say today. You're seeing, here in the phone, you're seeing the DNA, kind of from different places at Microsoft. One thing we hope that's obvious is that there is some design, there's some design commonality that you'll see if you go back and look at that Windows Phone 7 demo. There's some stuff up on the web. What you see here, what you see in Zune, what you're seeing in Xbox Live. It is a shared design team, and the intent is that these things work very well together. And this is one example. You'll see that continue to get stronger as we go along.
Is the Zune going to have that smart DJ feature?
The Zune has that. I don't know what the details are of putting it here. The one other detail I would add, and this is pretty exciting, especially for given that the audience that we believe will be very interested in Kit, the one that we built it for, is younger, and they tend to be more agnostic when it comes to computers that they use. There will be, when this is available, there will be a sync client for Mac. So you can, it's a web-based sync client, and you can plug in, it's via the web, and you can sideload any of your songs or anything out of iTunes. Or anything you have locally on your Mac, you can pull into your Kit device.
Are you going to be able to take stuff from music and drag it to the stock to share or to post it on?
So not at this time, and some of that, as you can imagine, comes down to rights and ownership, but that's absolutely where we're going. That I think the step of making this available for Mac is a big important step, and it was one where, in this case, the customer absolutely won. It was the right thing to do for our customer. We're absolutely doing that, and expect to see more from us.
So I'm sorry, just to be clear, there is going to be a Mac client for loading music and media onto Kin devices.
Yes.
That will play in the Zune interface there?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what it's going to look like? Is it Zune? Or is it like some sort of?
It's specific for Kin phones.
Okay.
It will not be available for a Zune device.
Okay.
So a Zune, let's say a Zune specific player. So your Zune HD, your traditional Zune devices, it won't work there. It's specific for Kin.
Will music that you download from the iTunes store, will that work on there?
So we support all those formats. It's just like any music. If it's not DRM protected, you own it. You have the right to take it wherever. We just make it now very easy for you to pull, a protected AAC format as well as MP3, WMA, all those other things. There's a full spec list we could, I think, at the right time that the PR team could provide. It gives you all those details. Okay, so that's there. Anything else? I think it was a fairly exhaustive demo. Anything else anybody wants to see? Or just questions? Doesn't have to be phone specific.
Email, just a regular email client?
It is. It supports Exchange, POP, IMAP, all the standard things. It's not loaded with bells and whistles. It's not something that, if you are using a Windows Phone today, which I think the Windows Phone platform has arguably the best PIM, that all set of things that you can get on the market, all those things. I don't know that this probably isn't the phone for you. It's Windows Phone. And what's interesting about that, for all of us older people, and I'm not like Derek, I can't say I'm part of this young generation. I've got 3 kids and family and other bits, and I don't hang out at nights other than coaching basketball and other things, is that the research, and my team, I did explain anything I do, my team's responsible for what we call our social marketing. My team spent the last couple of years taking the focus group work that we did that was happening throughout the US and Europe, and then actually we have a private community of a couple thousand people today that we've been working with and helping to finalize and prioritize our final features. So that video you saw at the beginning, and some of the people look like they're Abercrombie and Fitch sort of models, and it's like, okay, where are the stock photos you pull that stuff from? Every photo, every video, there are real people that have been working with us in this community that my team's been running. They're all very real individuals. What we heard from them, is kind of what if I had listened probably to my oldest child and some of the teenagers that I mentor through a couple of organizations, is that just email is sort of the antiquated, it's the file system, or it's the digital equivalent of the junk drawer, where you just sort of throw stuff. If you want to talk to a teen and 20-something that has these particular needs, not all of them, this is big generalization. Broadly, your broad friends, it's Facebook, some other social network. Your closer friends, are gonna text you, and then your closest friends, your 5 or maybe 10, depending on who you are. You might pick up the phone, but even then you're going to text first because you really don't like to talk. So email becomes this kind of drops down the list, and a lot of other things begin to change. It kind of flips a lot of the thinking for myself and others, completely on its head.
Emails for work. That's kind of
Yeah. So we've got it, and you can set it up to where it'll push to you and things like that. But it's a secondary feature for this particular crowd.
What about games?
Games are great. Out of the box, there's what you see today, and no additional apps at this time.
No Xbox Live.
Not at this point.
Lots of plans, though. Lots of plans.
We have lots of plans. We're really excited about what we have today. Again, and I think Robbie articulated this pretty well, for a very, speaking sort of industry terms for this crowd, for a broad horizontal offering where you get a lot of customization, something for everybody. We feel our Windows Phone platform, particularly with 7 that's coming out this fall, we've got something that continues to be successful and will be very robust. This is a very specific, again, in industry speak, horizontal end-to-end offering for a very focused audience. That's not how I would talk ever to this audience, but that's how I might frame it up for people that are looking at, like, what does this mean for Microsoft and how does it stack in our kind of portfolio.
So if you're a mobile developer, you're focusing on phone set.
What's that?
So if you're a mobile developer, you'd be focusing on phone set.
You would, and it would make sense for us to do something together long-term, wouldn't it?
Windows Live Messenger.
Windows Live Messenger. We have Windows Live integration, so you can pull in those contacts out of the gate. Today, we're not announcing that it's part of the phone, but I would say that again, we went back to the features that were critical that came to the top of the list for audience, and it actually, particularly in the U.S., it's falling down. It's falling down in importance where it's still very high as in Europe. So I think part of the press release and other materials talked about Europe. You can expect more to come from us there. It's probably all I said. Probably said more than I was supposed to.
So with Facebook and MySpace, is it chat as well, or is it status updates and things like that?
With Facebook, there's a couple of ways. So if I come in And I'm going to try it on one of these phones with demo content. And if it doesn't work, I'll just pull up my own. I'll pull up my own phone so you can actually see it. But what you get is a couple of places. So again, if I wanted to click into someone's information here, I can come in and write a comment. And I don't think, it's not here, it's not working. This is just demo content. We try to find one that will. I can click into somebody and I can see, you should be able to go right into their Facebook page. I can write something on somebody's wall. I can see what other things on their wall are. And I should be able to go right into Facebook. Let's see if it's going to go. Let's switch. All right, so if anyone's taking pictures, this is my personal content altogether. So my own, and I can flip over to my favorites and the people here, and let's go to somebody that I know has a lot of stuff. Let's go pick up Derek. I can click in. You didn't see this on the other phone, but it gives me, if I've got different contact information, it gives me this little ribbon where I can open someone, I can call and text. So really quickly, I can get to it. So I can click open, and here you'll see multiple. The other one that's kind of cool for integration purposes, if I come over to the camera, I don't think that this was actually shown. If I come over to the camera, I'm going to see my pictures that I've captured, so I see these here. And again, with Studio that I can flip over to, again, I think we should show that a little bit. I could go back, if I'd had this for years and I had 20 gigs of photos, I can go back and see all that. It's just flipping through. What would happen, I'd get down and it would start pulling, and it's giving me a thumbnail, and it might pause. If I would go back here, it might pause for a second, come back, and grab that photo off our servers, essentially, and then let me see that in full fidelity. But it knows, it's smart enough to know that, hey, I'm using all of my storage for music to keep little on the phone for actual video and pictures. But if I can favorite something, and this is always there, so a couple of my favorite with my kids and some of my motorcycle pictures, things that I've side-loaded from my computer. And then this one's nice. This is actually online, so if I flip over one more, and it actually give me, and this high school friend Taylor Swift, I have no idea who she is, flipping through what latest pictures people in my network begin with. If I have stuff from my favorites, they begin with those, but it shows all those in there as well. So those are some more bits on camera and some of that social integration.
So similar to what BlackBerries do, it's always syncing. Is that correct? It's always syncing. You don't have to do anything. It just
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you could peck down into settings if you wanted to shut some of those things off. You can absolutely do that kind of thing, but it's set up out of the box to just sync and just be sort of mindless, just giving you what you want. And there's some little customization features. I can flick this way and open these up and move things around if I want. There's little bits like that. The other thing I can do, we talk a little bit about apps, is there's a lot of things you can do through a browser, obviously. So in this case, I flipped down a couple things that were important, the sites that I go to. So here I think I've got weather, I've got some other phones that have traffic, or whatever. Maybe it's kind of a web-based app or other page. You can actually pin that and make it kind of appear as an app that you can get to it quickly. Little random things I've got. If I click down here to recent, this is always there available. It shows me the most recent things. I can come over and go quickly to those. And then instead of having sort of the standard sort of bar with signal strength and other things, you just have a clock. And that's what people wanted. Just give me a clock. And these types of things, if I click on it, really don't matter unless I need to. So if my bars go down to 1 or 2, then it'll pop up and go, hey, you're in a low coverage area. Or if your battery is dangerously low, then you'll pop up and you'll see a little battery warning. If not, it's just a clock.
You talk about battery life and about costs with various services and devices.
Yeah. So battery life, our tests, I think are sort of loosey way of talking about it right now. You see on our website is you get through a weekend. What I've been experiencing personally is a couple of days. If I sit up here and demo and I've got my back screen totally on and leave it on constantly, obviously you get less. But I think that's what the official bit right now is 2 days.
About costs.
Verizon hasn't announced that yet. I would say that We worked really hard together with Sharp and our chipset partner to bring costs as low as we possibly could. So there is flexibility in there. We also recognize that this audience is price conscious. And surprisingly, especially as we did our research in the US with this group of 2,000, it was surprising how much people are actually spending. People are spending more and more. I don't share that in any way to say that we're expensive. It's just that more is being spent than you might think. Unless you've got kids on the family plan and you get to get.
Well, I've seen my nephew and stuff. They'll save up for a nice phone, but I think the real cost for them comes in the monthly data plans.
Month.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there will be a data plan attached to this, but Verizon will announce those details later.
How about bundles with Zoom Pass? Will Zoom Pass still be, we'll build directly through Microsoft for that? Will we bundle with the Verizon plan, and will the cost be the same as it is if you go with Zoom?
Yeah, it will. In the box, there'll be a 14-day trial. Katie, is that correct?
Correct.
It's a 14-day trial for Zoom. I think it's similar to what you get with if you buy a Zoom player today. And then you have the cost of that pass is direct with Microsoft. It's not a bundled bill with Verizon. And again, that subscription, I think you get 10 downloads to keep per month, and then you have all your streaming or ability to listen to everything else. I think it's a great deal. I've been personally a user of it for a long time.
Are there going to be any bundles with Xbox Live or anything like that too? I mean, you kind of take advantage of that.
There's good ideas, things that we've talked about, but nothing that we're announcing. Nothing we're announcing at this point. Any other questions? Anything else?
John, can you talk about the extent to which this builds on or integrates the technology that Microsoft acquired from Danger?
So I can tell you that the biggest asset that we got from the acquisition of Danger is in people asset. The crew that was part of that acquisition, my boss being one of those, several people on my team, we went from really a handful, I think literally like a dozen people to, boom, we were a full organization. A team that had built lots of phones. They had worked with Sharp, which was a partner that we were definitely interested in at that time. They've run these in particular for this audience, and so that was really, really critical. In terms of back-end infrastructure, particularly what's running this service, and I should flip over and show actually the studio. That is actually built on the same infrastructure that we would use for Xbox Live or Windows Live. So we took in a team that's used to running a service 24/7, particularly on phones, where it's not like you don't have you can't afford any sloppiness in your code. Let's put it that way. When you're running something over the air, you've got a mobile operator that's concerned, as they should be, about bandwidth, where you might not get that from your landline provider. You definitely would get that either through on your PC. So that's really critical. That should not be underestimated. The intricacies of making something work really well on